Hi. Okay, this is Ahzz making another FPVOD with commentary. This is on ZvT on Python against WBC on fire or something. This is a few weeks old. He was about like solid B minus at that time, so he should be at least a B level Terran. An important thing to note about this map when playing ZvT is that unlike on maps like Blue Storm, the mineral only, and Longinus, the mineral only, and like Othello, the second gas expansion, all those expansions are pretty easy to keep since they're so close to your main, and it's basically impossible to surprise them enough to take them off. But this isn't really the case on Python. The distance between the bases and a new expansion is quite long, so you gotta take that to account. Like for example, if you're careless, he might just have a group of marina medics at your expansion and you can't do anything about it. So it's not so necessarily worse this way, especially since your enemy, especially a Terran, will have a harder time keeping and defending those expansions and all. It's not only a Zerg, but you still gotta take that to account. Especially on this map, it's easy. I mean, it's important to keep your expansions and be sure to protect them and properly scout the map and so on. I decided to go 12 hat. It's quite solid. The rush distances are decent. They're not short, but they're not too long either. Kind of depends where you start and where your opponents start. Over here I was especially lucky to find out that he was on the opposite side of the map, so he'd have trouble like rushing me if he wanted to do such a thing. I also noticed that he had a marine pretty much ready before I even started my spawning pool, and that means that he probably did something like a 9 barracks, which means he won't have, well, his economy will get a slight disadvantage, not a big one, but a slight disadvantage, and he's hoping to make a fast rush. Usually they continue this build with a fast command center expansion after the rush, whether it works or fails. Over here I'm bringing 4 drones, well actually 5 since I'm bringing that one back to slow him down enough till my spawning pool pops out and I get links and all. He had quite a few SCVs and all, so, and as a Zerg it's far more important to keep your workers alive than with Terran or Protoss, since you gotta use your larva for not only for drones but also units, so it's especially important to keep those drones alive. You cannot waste them at all if simply possible. And now my spawning pool is pretty much finished, my links are coming out, so it's pretty much beaten already. He'd have to have a bunker coming right now, or actually it'd have to be ready for this to be like effective in any way, since I noticed that I wasn't gonna need a sunken colony either way, so I just cancelled that creep colony so I save some money for faster hatchery and all that stuff. It's quite important, and since he lost quite a few SCVs over there and at least 3 marines, I think it's quite it would be good to try and do some sort of a counterattack and see if you can get him off guard. Usually that's quite possible if he did a fast command center, as I noticed over here, and he couldn't possibly have more than 3 to 5 marines, and if I have like 10 zerglings, even if I have to attack against high ground, it's still not impossible to keep or anything. Meanwhile I just drone up. Usually there are 2 options: either you keep making links and try to end the game, or you just leave it where it is and drone up and get the lead for sure, instead of losing the lead on spending all your larva for links or whatever. So this way he lost quite a few SCVs, he lost quite a few marines as well, so that will really affect how careful he has to be when expanding and all that stuff. And I'm pretty much just able to drone up. I have a pretty good economy, and it's easy to say I have the lead over here. I made a sunken colony now, so in case he tried some sort of a very weird counterattack, I wouldn't have a problem of killing it. But the main purpose is that sunken colony will destroy any scouting SCVs to stop from seeing my spire or anything. Of course, I could have made a Zergling or two, but this is just safer, and at this point it doesn't matter anymore. Since I can keep making drones like at full power anyway. I have 3 hatcheries and all, so it doesn't really make a difference. It's just slightly safer to have a sunken colony at this point already, and it's less a pain in the ass if his SCVs come over to scout or something. Over here, I now notice that he has an command center up, and he also needed to make that bunker just in case, since he lost quite a few marines and SCVs. So if I try to continue make some link pressure, it'd be a problem. Notice how I place my spire over there instead of my main, for example. Usually when you're making muta, especially 2 or 3 head muta, it's all about like psychological warfare. You're trying to at all costs make him waste as many scans as possible before he can see your spire. The ideal situation would be that the first 2 scans are not able to detect the spire, and the third would, and in that case I might be able to have mutas at his expansion or main or whatever before my spire, before his turrets even pop out. I also made a few Zerglings at this point. If I play my cards correct and have a proper economy, notice how my expansion and main have quite a few drones. Like my expansion could have maybe 1 or 2 drones more, I don't know, but aside from that, it's a quite fine number. So instead of just massing like drones or something all this time, what it really improved my ZvT was that I actually made a few Zerglings beforehand, and if he moves out or anything of the sort, I'm pretty much able to just try and do something, some sort of a backstab thing. When his Marina medics move his choke, I might be able to run in and slow his tech, kill some turrets, slow his turrets enough for my mutas to deal some real damage. Also notice how I sent a drone before my spire was popped out to a new expansion location, so that if he adds any pressure, my drone would still be there and he wouldn't be able to slow me down from starting an expansion. It's quite important. If you have to make 3 sunken colonies, you won't be able to make an expansion quite so fast. But if you don't, then you're usually able to make even start the hatchery before your spire pops out. Sort of depends how you go and how successful he is and so on. Also notice that I made a double expansion. It's very easy when he first moves out. You might not always be able to defend every single one of your expansions perfectly, especially if he's very good. So instead of just making 1 expansion and losing the game from losing your only second gas expansion, I personally prefer taking 2 gas expansions pretty quick. Not so quick that it will like affect your economy in any worst way or tech, but quite quick, so that if you lose one of those expansions, it's still quite fine. I also started a hydraulic den excuse me, after I had like 9 or 11 mutas coming out. It's important to have lurkers in time, since if you don't have lurkers in time, you won't have any proper defense when he first moves out with some Marina medic army. For example, if he moved out with like, I don't know, maybe 20 Marina medics or so, your Ling and muta won't really be able to do much about that. So it's quite important to have Hydras and lurkers out in time. Over here with mutas, the point is that you slow him down enough and destroy marines, slow him down, keep him in his base, and basically just allow yourself some free expand, like being able to keep those expansions and keeping in his toes and so on, kind of like force him in a difficult position. Also notice how I started evolution chamber, it's important to have upgrades in. They're not quite as important as in ZvP, and there's no huge difference. Like for example, in ZvP, there's the if you don't have carapace and he has +1 attack, his zealots will kill your links in 2 hits. But in ZvT there's no such thing, but they really do make a difference. So I prefer making carapace upgrades beforehand, so I'm not quite as much behind when it comes to it. Basically, I also try to usually send some hydras before my lurker upgrade finishes to the middle of the map or something, kind of like so that his units won't run by them though, and that way I would be able to get my lurkers where I need them faster, and I have